Good morning, everyone. Today is pattern a day number 2. So let's get right into it. The distribution of towns. The issue here is of real importance economically, overall, especially these days, because we talk about how there is urban sprawl, urban decay. How do we not go crazy with all of these things? Really, this pattern consists of what you might call an Aristotelian mean. The famous School of Athens painting, Plato is like this, and Aristotle is like this. People talk about Aristotle gesturing towards the earth and everything. Honestly, it's one of the dumbest academic dogmas I've ever heard. I'm in one of these moods. No, it's one of the academic versions of people saying that the Velvet Underground are the founders of punk. It's just something that sounds good that people said that other people repeat. No, Raphael did not paint Aristotle gesturing to the earth. He painted Aristotle urging temperance, right? The golden mean. There are two extremes, and in the middle you have the mean. That's what this pattern reaches out to today. Let's start reading it, and then we'll hopefully figure out, as always, a good rule of thumb. That's what all of these patterns are. They're an interrelated system of rules of thumb. And when there's a new architectural project, a new pattern language is developed, is grown for each project. So, I'm still trying to find a snappy definition for pattern languages. I'm getting closer. The distribution of towns. If the population is weighted too far towards small villages, modern civilization can never emerge. But if the population is weighted too far towards big cities, the earth will go to ruin because the population isn't where it needs to be to take care of it. Therefore, encourage a birth and death process. Thinking of Jane Jacobs, I'm sure they were when they wrote it, Death and Life of Great American Cities. For towns within the region which gradually has these effects, one, the population evenly distributed in terms of different sizes, and he goes through the distribution suggestions about how far away they should be from each other. Towns of 1 million should be 250 miles apart, of 100,000, 80 miles apart, 10,000, 25 miles apart, 1,000, 8 miles apart. The process can be implemented by regional zoning policies and so forth. I thought this was very interesting, and in terms of the relevance that it has for us, think about how it recession-proofs a community, it recession-proofs a nation, to have places that are well distributed, so that when you have growth in one area and decay in another, it's spaced well enough that people don't have to go across the country. One of the famous things about this part of the world is that in the 1930s you had the migration from the Dust Bowl coming out here, and there weren't enough. If you have slums in the big city, part of the problem that this is addressing is that in a situation where you have the problem that this is trying to solve, slums in the big city and agricultural poverty in the countryside. That's the opposite of what this pattern is. That's kind of the evil twin, the shadow side of this pattern. There are healthy sides. The main reason that I chose the population density map of Italy, something really struck my mind. You can scroll back to the beginning of this video to see that, if you want to. When I was at UIC, I took a couple of short courses there before I went out to the GSD to get my master's, and one of them was on urban planning, urban sprawl, and I noticed in some of the research for that one remarkable thing about Italy, I looked at an atlas of world demography, and that Italy, apart from many of the other countries in the world, its cities had really finely grained, and you can see it on the map, all these little spots everywhere, due to the geography of Italy, also due to the geography of coastal California. It's similar, also Greece. You have something with a few scattered plains, but a lot of hills separating things. It's not like Poland, it's not like Germany, it's not like the plains of northern France, it's not like the Netherlands, where you get a large, especially in France, you get this large Le Métropole, which pulls in absolutely everything, and you see the rail network of France as one big star spider coming into Paris. Can't do that in Italy. Can't do that in Southern California. And in such places, it seems that the geography itself enforces the scattered distribution of towns. One of the big misconceptions, one of the big places that Los Angeles County ever went wrong with urban planning was to build skyscrapers. I feel strongly about that. I'm not concerned about saying it. I think City Hall is beautiful and wonderful here. There's some skyscrapers which I don't like. Skyscrapers are foreign to this landscape. It's not correct. It's not the right way of doing things. Having small areas close together, relatively close together, ideally connected by the kind of light rail that you hear going by me here, that was the original urban setup of Los Angeles County. That is the natural shape of it. And things were made extremely unnatural, starting in the late 40s and the early 50s with the mania for the freeway building, but that's over. That's over now. And it's a very interesting cultural shift that's happening. But I think that it is important as we build new towns. Now, Donald Trump, I heard about this in the press. I've never heard about it from him, but he wants to build, it's part of his platform to build new towns. Now, that could be good or it could be terrible. You know, the new towns in England, in Scotland, and in the UK. Oh, those were they built those in the 60s, in the 70s, and they were disgustingly horrible. It's all the brutalism, It's not easy to build something from scratch right away. I think that it's much better to be moderate, to slowly expand from the existing structure, to have what in the nature of order is called a structure preserving transformation, but that is a topic for another time. So, once again, I'm David Getson. Thank you for listening.